What is up, Wolfpack Nation? Welcome back to another Tuffy Talk live stream. We're here today to discuss the big win over UNC, some men's and women's basketball, and just the ongoings in state athletics here this week. So I'm here with Greg, Michael, and Ken's. First, we'll go around. Thoughts on the game on Saturday and the big win?
I'll go. Great night. Loved every minute of it. It was never close. It was the best game to watch. Scotty McCreery really set the tone coming out as Alpha Wolf, but I mean,
let's be real.
It was a great night.
Let's be real. We were all Alpha Wolves that night.
That's true. I loved every minute of it. Didn't get kicked out, so fun fact. Proud of myself for that.
Your first game not in the student section. How was that? For UNC.
I don't want to talk about it.
No, I mean I feel like we do have to talk about it.
It's so hard, like looking over there and seeing everybody going crazy. And then when I try to do that exact same thing they're doing over there, everybody around us is like, what is she doing? Yeah. So it's like, I missed the student section, but they held it down over there. So I'm proud of them.
Yeah, super fun game. Super loud, good energy from the student section. It was freezing, I will say. It was even colder than I was anticipating. But yeah, the game was pretty much won out front. It was never close. It was, dare I say, boring for a UNC State game. By the end, I was ready to wrap things up and celebrate.
Not for me.
I was wanting to run it up.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Go, Michael.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, if you compare it to the last two games, yeah, I guess you could say it's boring, but being on the right side of it is always exciting. Right. But yeah,
anytime you can give, there's a saying, the cheating causes a beating, and anytime you can give a beating to the cheating, I am all for it, and it will never be boring for me.
Well, that's a great quote, honestly. I'm gonna start using that more.
Good quote, yeah. I might have to start integrating that one into my life as well.
And then we saw Naheem at the tailgate. Yeah. It was hype from the jump. Naheem set the tone. I took a Carolina fan.
You did. You know what? I welcomed her. I was like, "Hey, what's going on, Casey? Welcome to the tailgate." And I don't know if she had like a.
She had a red blanket covering the Carolina part.
That's why. Yeah.
I was like, "You're not walking through here with me with the Carolina shirt, so everybody can see it."
No, I was like, "Welcome." I gave her a high five, and then I saw the sweatshirt. I'm like, "What did you just do, Kens? What did you bring to my tailgate?" I would rather you bring something burnt than bring a UNC fan to my tailgate.
Everybody was coming up to me, like people in the stands. They were like, "Is this your friend?" And I'm like, "We've been friends since first grade. I've been trying to convert her for years. She's never been to a game at State, so." She says it didn't work, but she cheered a little bit. She got a little happy, so we'll see what happens.
Greg, you're getting a shout out here. Greg represented well on TV. Great job. Greg, for those of us watching who might not know, what'd you do this weekend?
Yeah, I got interviewed by the ACC Huddle crew. I had my man Michael running security for me. He his beautiful bride. She might be my new what do you call that? A PA, right? Personal assistant. So I think I got some new people hired. No, I had a really fun, awesome time getting interviewed by the crew. Definitely a life experience, and it was humbling. I was chatting with I think it was you, Michael, yesterday. It was just kind of taking it all into perspective, just trying to figure out how it all happened and how it was just a whirlwind of events. And then to me, like, obviously I broke my leg 2 years ago. And then last year I got on the field with Derek waving the NC State flag. And then this was the first home game since the accident and got interviewed by the Huddle. So I figured that's a perfect way to end the chapter. It's the final chapter of the story. And I hope that it's now, I mean, it'll never be done. But I mean, for all the celebratory things, I think that's a fitting way to close that book.
I think it's I think that's just the beginning. It's like you said, it's the end of one chapter, but it's a lot.
I mean,
like you said, it's kind of it hit me too. Like I was like, it's really crazy that Greg did that from just us hanging out every Monday night talking on here, and We've got now Greg on, I guess national TV.
Yeah, I would love to know the ratings. Like how many people saw like that interview? Like I honestly just want to, because when it was happening, my parents are like, "Are you for real?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll be on TV." And then
Are you for real?
yeah, and I wonder how many people actually have the ACC network. So I actually Googled it, and allegedly it's in 90 million households. And obviously 90 million plus that Super Bowl rating. So I don't think that many people watched, but I am genuinely curious how many people saw that. So
I mean, Naheem was fangirling over you once I told him. He was like, "Why does he look so familiar?" And I was like, "That's Greg the Leg." And Naheem was like, "You're joking.
Oh,
This
that's
is
amazing.
Greg the Leg's tailgate." And I was like, "Yes, it is." He was like, "That's insane."
Yeah, that was fun. I mean, like I guess that was Naeem's first ever tailgate experience, and so I'm glad we could do it up for him a little bit.
Yeah, he walked over and he said, "This tailgating thing is not for the weak." I guess he's never experienced a state tailgate before, so he was like, "This is like state fans are different." He's like, "I always knew they were different, but seeing what happens before y'all come into the stadium, now I know why everybody's so crazy." That's what he said. So
yeah.
Oh yeah, my friends from school, like my UNT friends, will be like, "When are you going to the next state game? Can we come to the tailgate with you?" Like they don't realize how different it is, but once you go, you want to keep coming back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Are y'all bummed we didn't get the chance to rush the field this year?
One guy did from my section.
One guy.
Yeah, was that the guy in like the cowboy boots?
He had this red scarf. He just kept.
Oh yeah, that was the guy. I saw him.
That man was gone.
He almost eluded the police. Like he did juke that
almost
one dude.
got away.
He juked that security guard right from the jump, and I was like, he was having the time of his life. And
he was wearing cowboy boots, and he was wearing cowboy boots and didn't fall on the field. So I don't know what UNC's problem was.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, but hey, if they get their butts kicked like they did, of course they're gonna whine and say that there was a reason. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah. Hey, real quick before I know we've got to talk about the game, but I mean, we do have to talk about the whole experience of everything. How was your wife's first time at a state game, Michael?
Oh, it's great. Yeah. She enjoyed it.
Best part was we came back to the hotel after the game, and I'm walking in the door. It's like, what was it, about 1 o'clock in the morning, Michael? I think it was.
Yeah.
And I hear Greg. I'm like, and there's Michael and his crew hanging out of the bar was closed, but it's a little like, public
we were
area.
Sitting in the lobby. Yeah.
Yeah. Chilling.
Yeah. And we were at the same hotel. It was pretty funny. So had a nightcap and it reminisced, and it was great. But let's talk some football, man. I'm ready.
Okay. All right. Is there anything anyone wants to say out front before we go into some tweets of the week talking about the game?
Nah, let's go. Let's get into it.
Let's do it. Tuffy Talk tweets of the week. All right. So obviously we got to start with Greg. Like we said, Greg was on ACC Network for the ACC Huddle. Here he is with the whole ACC Huddle gang before the game. Greg, for anyone who's just tuning in or, might not know the story, what happened? How did ACC Huddle reach out to you? What did they want to talk about, and how'd it go?
Yeah, so obviously we talked about how it kind of went, but I think it was last Monday or Tuesday. I don't remember what it was. Eric McLean from ACC Network and ACC Huddle specifically just reached out and said, "Hey, you want to be on TV Saturday night?" And I was like, "What?" And then he sent me the thread. They have a text thread, and they were just kind of talking about it. And I think it was from my tweet last week when I was just screwing around about the Alpha Wolf. Said, "Hey, like if anyone needs an Alpha Wolf for the game, I'm in." And I think the producer had just saw that, and then it just kind of grew and blossomed from there. And next thing I know, I'm getting mic'd up and getting earpieces in my ear. I was like, this is really official, man. Yeah. And I end up on the set and just had a good time with it. I honestly did. I knew the leg would probably be mentioned because they kind of reached out and kind of wanted some pictures and kind of a little background information, and I provided that. But I didn't know like we were going to go around the panel and each of them ask me a different question. So I wasn't prepared for that. And I just leaned into it and just had fun with it. I thought I would be more nervous than I was, but it was shockingly smoothing. It was interesting too, because I was talking to Eric. I was talking to the panel before we went on, and this is kind of a funny story. And I'm from the same town as EJ Manuel, Virginia Beach, and so he went to one of my rival high schools. So we were talking a little junk before the game, and but I did say, hey, look, I always enjoyed watching you from afar, and come to find out his parents lived like 10 minutes from where I used to live, which was kind of awesome.
Oh, wow.
And then I looked to my right and it said, Eric, like, how was your holiday? And then he kind of paused me. He was like, we're live, and I was like, oh. And so my dad and I were talking last night. He goes, did you ask someone about a holiday? And I was like, what? And I was trying to think. And I was like, oh, yeah. He goes, yeah, I picked that up as soon as they came back live from the commercial. So, but I didn't know. Like, no one said we're going on in 5, 4, like nothing, no lights. I didn't see anything. And I know maybe I was just oblivious to it all because I was in shock. But yeah, funny story.
That's funny.
Yeah, that is funny. But very cool personal experience for our Tuffy Talk group here. And then obviously the game itself, like we said, it was NC State all the way the whole time. We have our grown-ass man, Brennan Armstrong, here with the Manning Award Star of the Week. How do y'all feel about the way Brennan finished out his, college career, regular season here at Carter Finley, and just kind of how people have responded to him being back?
I loved how this game went for him because, the game before, he's balled out the past few games, don't get me wrong. But, like, the last home game didn't really go his way. He got replaced right after. So it was like, it was a storybook ending for him. And I'm really glad that he excelled in that. And I think the weeks leading up to that made more people pay attention to him. So the fact that he just went out and did his thing and showed everybody, like, this is who I am. The first few games weren't. This is the type of offense I thrive in. I think that was a perfect way for his senior night to go. I'm ready for him to see what he does during the bowl game. And, he is a grown-ass man. That's all I have to say about that.
I think he put an exclamation point on grown-ass man. Like, I think it was there, but
grown-ass man.
Yeah.
Speaking of bowl games, what are everybody's hopes / predictions?
Greg just messaged me and said he's heard about.
Yeah, I keep hearing Pop-Tarts. That's popping pretty. That's popping pretty hot. Obviously, the Orange Bowl is still out there. Michael had a nice tweet, a good breakdown yesterday on that. It was. I think you're better off hitting the lottery or that's a serious parlay, Michael. Right? You had a great parlay ticket with all the scenarios.
and like, even if all that happened, that still wouldn't guarantee it because it's just up to the committee on where they rank Louisville.
Yeah, it's an opinion.
If they do lose, like if they win, it's we have no shot. But
and that's the other thing too. Like, Florida State can still win and still not make the playoff. As crazy as that may sound,
that too.
It's definitely conceivable. But the things could. You could have some serious chaos with all the championship weekend stuff. If Bama beats Georgia. Is that enough to knock Georgia down? If Michigan were to lose to Iowa, that would be a serious upset. Like, you could have some serious chaos.
And Texas, if Texas wins, they'll be 12-1. And if Alabama wins, they'll be 12-1. But Texas beat Alabama, so this year is, I feel like going into the last weekend. Usually, it's kind of sorted itself out going into the last weekend, but it's still wide open going into the conference championship.
And Bama almost lost. They did a miracle Hail Mary-ish on 4th and goal from like the 30-yard line. Like, how crazy was that? Yeah. And I know that's not state related, but it kind of is, right? Because it all ties back to us. Obviously it's going to be somewhere warm, right? And I think we'll all be glad about that.
Yeah, exactly. Here in the chat, HS says Jerry Palm had us in Tampa versus LSU. Carson says Louisville lost to an unranked team. They'll go down to 15 or 16. We'll go up to around 18 to 20. If FSU blows out Louisville, we get Orange Bowl. Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about that, but regardless, somewhere warm. But bringing the attention back to Brennan, if you can't read the small text here under where it says Manning Award Star of the Week, it says Armstrong, who posts season best in passing yards and touchdowns, directs the Wolfpack to an early 23-0 advantage as it cruises to a 39-20 victory over arch rival North Carolina for its first 5-game ACC winning streak in 50 years. Yeah, like Ken said, this has been kind of a hot streak for Brennan since he came back. Carolina lost. State ends the season on a 5-game win streak, their first ACC 5-game win streak in 50 years. So now we go back to a conversation we had last week. Is this Doran's best season coaching at NC State?
If he gets this 10th win, 100%.
Yeah. I mean, that's
I think if we win the bowl, there's first 10-win season in years. I mean, yeah, you can technically say we got 10 wins against UCLA, but like to actually earn it, go out there and ball out and earn it, that would make it his best season, I think.
Yeah, and again, and it's been well documented. For me, if this is the team that gets to 10, you'd be like, "Ow!"
Right?
That's it. And again, there's no disrespect to this team. This team has fought its behinds off, and they've earned everything they've got, and they bought into. We kind of talked about it with the Duke game, and I've mentioned it even last year when MJ came in. We hit that fork in the season, right? Either you figure it out and you turn it around and things go well, or the team could have just said, you know what, the heck with it. I'm going to mail it in and just kind of ride it through. And it just speaks to the volume of the character, the integrity of the players that, coaches have brought in, and that they will fight till the final whistle of the game. And I honestly couldn't be more proud. And I think that's what you see in Coach Doran with the way he kind of talks about this team, that, they could have folded. And I'll take even one step further there. It's about the leadership council of this team, right? All those captains that have the C's on their chest. And even if you don't have the C, you have those upperclassmen that said, you know what, we ain't going out like this. You had the Peyton Wilsons, you had the Aiden Whites that have, had some vocal comments and quotes, but I think there's more to it. So it's an amazing turnaround.
I think that at the beginning of the season, a lot of people were saying it seemed like it was like our 2019 season. It was like nothing was going our way, nothing was going right. So the fact that this team and the men on this team have overcome so much to be able to completely do a 180 from the beginning of the season, from the bye week to now, it's like 2019, that didn't happen. Years before, that didn't happen. So it's like now you can see the culture as you watch every game and after every game. Like they don't hype themselves up, they hype the team up. Peyton Wilson will call out Brennan Armstrong. Brennan Armstrong will call out Peyton Wilson or Casey. It's like it's never about themselves, and that's not something you see in college football a lot. So this team is really special, and I'm gonna freaking miss them.
Yeah, there's a team that, regardless of if you think it's Doran's best season or not, fought through a lot. A team like, we highlighted this a second ago, people having funerals for the season after the Duke game, and it totally got turned around. So this team has fought through a lot, been through a lot, regardless of whether or not we want to consider it Doran's best season. But we'll see if they pull off the 10-win season.
Before we jump, go back for once. I mean, or you can keep it here. It's not a big deal.
No,
the kind of thing the whole funeral thing, and we as fans, we want everything to happen, right? We want to win every game, and the players do too. And for people to kind of just crap on the season after one game, I feel like I want to kind of go back and watch the live stream after that episode, and I feel like I wasn't too negative. So I would like to, not lump myself into this conversation, and I'm sure people keep receipts. So if I'm wrong, they will definitely let me know. But I don't think we jumped off the boat or off the bandwagon or the train or whatever vehicle apparatus you want to refer to. I just think it was like, it didn't look good. I mean, you had the Louisville and then you had the Duke game back to back, and the offense was going nowhere fast. But I still think we were still positive. Does anybody remember? I don't know. I know we get. I mean, yeah, go ahead.
We mainly talked about like it going. You could go one way.
Yeah, I think that's the same. Because I use that analogy a lot. I kind of beat it to death, but because I think we, at least on this channel, and we get called out for it, and that's fine. But we try to stay as positive and level-headed set as we can. Because we do know, like, that was literally the fourth, fifth game of the season. There was so much still to play for. Now, it could have gotten really ugly fast, right? And I feel like that's probably where a lot of people were thinking, because you saw the upcoming schedule. You're like, there's no way we're running the table on this, man. Like, there's just no way.
If you would have told me after the Duke game we were going to win out, I would have said you're crazy.
I think, like if you looked at like the ESPN, they do a, FPI predictor. I think it was, I want to say less than 2%, maybe even less than 1% chance of like winning 5 in a row to start the season. So, or to end the season.
Yeah, like Ken said, after that Duke game, we were saying this could go one of two ways. That bye week kind of split our season in half, and obviously for the better. Like we said with this, it was the first 5-game ACC winning streak in 50 years for State, which is wild. I also did not realize that. So that's a crazy stat to have there.
Yeah, I'm old, and I'm not even that old. Like, that's insane.
Yeah, that is crazy. Okay, ACC Players of the Week. There are 9 players. NC State gets 4 of these awards. For quarterback for Brennan Armstrong, Casey Concepcion is both Rookie of the Week and Receiver of the Week. And linebacker Peyton Wilson is Linebacker of the Week.
No
Obviously, all well-deserved. A good way to go out for Peyton and Brennan. What do you guys think about these? Did any other State players deserve any other positions, do you guys think? What do you think about these guys' play?
Yeah, maybe not for Players of the Week ACC level, but I mean, damn, you give that whole defense a game ball. They held Carolina to its lowest yardage output, lowest scoring output of the season. By the way, I don't know if anyone's checked the stocks at either Home Depot or Lowe's, but I'm sure they're low on wood because we were laying it on Saturday night. Like Jalen Scott was bringing it, Aiden White, Shaheem Battle. Hebler, it was a hit parade. I think the whole team, man.
Not even just defense, those wide receivers. That's the most I've seen more wide receivers come out and actually make a difference. Like, usually it's just like 1 or 2 that comes out and balls out. Our entire wide receiver core was out there ready. And it was just, I remember I made a comment halfway through and I was like, who is this team? And I like them a lot. Let's keep them. And everybody just started laughing because it's like every time we play Carolina, we come out as we give our best. If we did that every game, I have no doubt we would be undefeated this year.
Yeah. So for me, like, it was an interesting way we attacked Carolina. Granted, like, it's no secret, like, Carolina's defense has been their weakest point of their team all season. But I honestly didn't see us attacking them through the air like we did. We came out and we were throwing it all around the yard.
Yeah. And, I think that goes back to Brennan. Like, he was playing, Dorn said he didn't throw a pass or threw.
Which is even more remarkable, right, Michael?
Practice
That's
this
insane.
week. Yeah. And then to come out and you could tell because there were plays. He had extra large, like, rib cage padding in there.
He looked like the Michelin Man out there.
Yeah. And you can tell
he didn't look nervous, which is another thing. Like, usually playing Carolina, playing your rival who wants to hurt you every chance they get, like, knowing that you have already injured ribs, like, you'd think he would have shown a little bit of a nervous streak, but he went out there and he balled out. He ran. He wasn't scared of anything, and that's the type of quarterback that I love to see for State.
I think there were a couple of plays where, he did slide, or there was one he ran right out of bounds. He could have got 1 more yard and it would have been a first down. It's like,
I think 3 weeks ago, he takes that. Yeah, 3 weeks ago, he takes that.
He would have taken those hits.
Yeah. You could. I was rewatching it today. There was one. In fact, it was the hit on the late hit that he took on the Kevin Concepcion catch and run. You could just see it in his eyes, in his mouth. He was like, "Oh gosh, that one really hurt." Yeah. So he's a gamer. I think, every game, and we talked about it on the preview last week. Every game kind of has a name, right? Associated with the player. Not that he already hadn't been redeeming, himself, but I think you call it the Brennan Armstrong redemption game. I don't know if you have a better name for it, just because we did dominate so much. But yeah, three in a row, and
I think so. Like last time he was out there, he was getting booed off the field.
Yeah, that's true, right? Because that was when he was a starter. because
Against
he did run a
Louisville.
couple of those players. Yeah.
And then came in against Marshall.
Yeah.
And didn't
Yeah.
do great.
That didn't go so well.
What
Yeah.
Droop just said
And,
is 100%. You could tell that he was really mad that he had to
Yeah.
be cautious and had to
Yeah.
be like, he did not want to run out of bounds. He did not want to slide. He would get up every time and be like, you could just see
He
it on his
did,
face.
yeah.
He wanted to take out Cedric Gray. Like, he did. And I
Yeah.
wish he would have.
Yeah, he kind of talked about it a little bit in his press conference post game that, he was like, yeah, he left a couple of plays out there, but it's better not take a hit and fight another day than getting knocked out. And kind of what you have behind you that, is a little bit of a drop off to say the least.
Yeah.
And I think that made him, he passed for 330 yards. Like, I think he had to trust his receivers more because, he every game he was liable to just tuck it and run. But some of those, he knew he couldn't take as many hits this game. So
yeah. Which one of you was it? You Kens that mentioned the red receiver stepping up?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean
Rosner.
I was getting ready to say that Rosner catch where he towed like it literally looked like it looked like Brandon was throwing that one out on the sidelines and somehow the
little toe tap.
Yeah, Rosner's got. I mean, he's got good length, and so he was able to just kind of get a hand up on it and drag that toe. Keanu Lassane making plays. Unfortunately, Anthony Smith, who's now in the transfer portal, I don't know if we're going to talk about that, had some nice plays with his hands. Dakari Collins, man, he's really shown out the last month of the season, starting that Wake Forest game. I'm excited for him going forward in the future.
Corey Smith's tweet after that touchdown was my favorite when he said,
"Yeah, what was it?"
He was he said, that looks really familiar. Someone wearing 86 for State catching over a DB that should be intercepted, and he tagged a Mecca in it. And I was like,
"That's amazing!
Oh my gosh, that just brings back so many great memories."
It was that
end zone
too, right?
No, opposite end zone. Yeah, that was Kens's.
But I was right there. That one too.
Yeah,
that was Kens's.
Yeah,
right. Russell and Jimmy here in the chat are asking us to discuss the kicking play at the end of the first half. Yeah, this was interesting. I'm not exactly sure what the ruling here was that made us re-kick it when we came back from the half. Greg, if you want to touch on it.
Yeah, from what I understand, it was insane. So obviously that was Kevin Concepcion coming short at the goal line, which I'm not even so sure. Like, they didn't even really review that.
Yeah, I don't know why.
He broke the plane.
Yeah. So there's that. But then they had the fire drill. They call it a fire drill kick, and they all run out of the field. And Porter Rooks stayed on the field. I don't know if he's part of the kicking team or not. I don't know. But he just stayed there because I think he knew he couldn't get off the field on time.
Right, he was on the opposite side.
Yeah. So he stood there. We get the fire drill. We kick it. Time has expired. Here's the part I don't understand is how that's obviously they kicked and everybody runs into the tunnel.
I think that's why. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know how they when they actually flagged it. That's the part I didn't understand.
Yeah, I feel was it a discussion during halftime? Did one of the Carolina coaches come and call it out? You just wonder what happened behind closed doors for them to come out and say that. Right.
Yeah, and I'm not so sure that's even a reviewable play.
Right. You can't they didn't call it on the field, right?
Right.
No.
Right.
You can't review a penalty that wasn't called.
Come on. We all know how the refs are going to be towards Carolina. They're going to give them whatever little push they can give them.
So Russ, that's the best way we can discuss it. I just don't know.
We don't know.
I've never seen that happen. I
mean, ultimately, it didn't matter because we were kicking from the 1-inch line. So
I mean, we got them both, so we could have just said,
Yeah. Well, and the funny thing too is I've seen them bring them out at halftime to kick an extra point or something like that, back in the old days where they had to kick the extra point.
Yeah.
Now they just let them call it a game, but this was something completely different.
Okay, apparently TV announcers explained that they were able to review it since no other play had happened yet after because it was halftime. Again, I also did not know that this was reviewable, but I guess that was the explanation.
Yeah, I'd heard that kind of too when I watched it today, but again, I just didn't think 12 men on the field was a reviewable play. That's just one of those you can't review personal foul, necessary roughness. Like that's not a reviewable penalty. So I guess maybe 12 minutes on the field is. You learn something new every day.
Yeah.
But going back to players of the week and about to jump into an NIL discussion, this was senior night for both Brennan and Peyton. A good way to go out before the bowl game. But for Kevin Concepcion, it obviously isn't. Kevin Concepcion is a rookie currently. And last week we were talking about how he can do everything. He almost like he's driving the bus back from the away games. So the question among state fans is how to keep Concepcion. So we have a tweet here. Okay. NC State coach Dave Doran calls for fans to donate to Savage Wolves. Pack of Wolves asks for 5,000 fans to donate $1,000 apiece so we can recruit, retain, and develop. And Stuart Mandel here says Dave Doran makes $5 million and he's begging fans to donate their entire paychecks to an NIL collective. The model is so broken. And
coaches cannot donate to NIL. People are so stupid. I'm sorry. But this is so dumb.
So here's a national. So obviously Brian Murphy's a local WRAL guy, and so he just kind of just took a post game quote and tweeted it out there. And then Stuart Mandel, he's with the Athletic, a national publication. Here's part of the problem. Stuart Mandel never kind of came out and reiterate what his point was, and he just kind of basically threw a grenade and walked away from it.
Yeah.
So you could look at this one of two ways. One, that Dave Doran should be giving his own money to the process, and we know that's illegal. You can't do it. But then his other part of it's like, he's making $5 million. He shouldn't have to be begging, people to give money to the system, right?
Yeah, I think that was more his point.
I think so, but again, don't assume that, he's
not known for his good takes, but
I mean, the amount of money that Dave puts in to everything, not just athletics, on a yearly basis, it's like that wasn't even a comment that really was necessary to even make.
Yeah,
and I agree with Infinite Hate.
Infinite Hate's always coming in with a great takes.
Yeah, I think the point behind his tweet, which he didn't get across, and which other people have said, which is very reasonable, is that schools should be paying these players. The coaches shouldn't have to be begging the fans.
I think this is a confusing tweet. Again,
well, I think it was purposely misleading because he does this crap all the time. Like someone said, he has horrible takes. So I was having some conversations with some folks that are in the NIL world today, or have been in the NIL world, and I don't think this is a new take by any stretch of the imagination, but it's just time to take the whole system, blow it up, put these, no longer call them student athletes. Right, they're employees of the school. Time to break out contracts. You sign 2-3 year deals. And here's the thing: depending on your level of talent, maybe that's how you get a 2-year deal, a 3-year deal. Like, maybe you're a long snapper, you get a 4-year deal. Like, because the professionals, they have different levels of contract, right, depending on type of player. And so I think it just might be time to do that, and then this all goes away, and then you can still, you as a fan can still donate to the athletic scholarship, right? So maybe put the Wolfpack Club in charge of all of that. And then, they hire more staff, obviously, because you're going to need more staff to be able to manage this. You need a general manager at that point to run salary cap and all the craziness that's involved with that. But I think, you have to figure out a way to then, and then the other question becomes, do you try to level the playing field, right? Do you, because you really can't, put stipulations on name, image, and likeness, but how do you level the playing field? Because obviously an Alabama can bring in tens of $20-30 million a year, where NC State struggles to bring in $5 million a year.
Yeah, we've talked a lot on this show over recent weeks about the way NIL is just totally. I don't think it's a clear-cut issue. I don't know what the solution is, Greg. You're right. It might have to be contract-based. But yeah, Stuart's take is confusing.
It's a take.
Trash. It is a take. a take we shall now move on from. Okay, so finishing up here with football, the AP poll now has NC State at number 21. I think State was unranked in AP last week. So moving on up there, we'll see where they end up in the CFP poll. Any predictions?
I think we were 22 last week.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Think around like maybe 18, 19.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. Kansas State and Oregon State lost,
they're really
so
the
we'll
only
jump
ones.
them.
Yeah.
And then it just depends on if they put us ahead of Tennessee, which we should have been because Tennessee.
Yeah. And were they impressed by our win, right? Enough to where it still didn't.
I mean, we dominated the Heisman quarterback, so I don't know how we wouldn't be.
You would think
they wouldn't be impressed, you know? I thought Drake May was that Heisman candidate.
Yeah. So Droop says 4. I counted 3, so I might have missed one. But Blair, I have receipts here. Blair Kiroff, Zach Klein, and Emily Adams. Get it together. We're definitely a top 25 team.
Get it together.
And then one knucklehead from Don Williams, excuse me. I want to make sure I get his name right. This knucklehead had Carolina at number 24 in the country, or 25. I'm like, bro.
Yeah.
Do you even watch football?
Yeah, I mean there's got to be a way that to like ensure these people are actually submitting, because they might just submit the same ballot week over week. It's just like
I agree with Dennis's
it is
comment.
what it is.
Yeah,
I agree with that completely. I think we could definitely play with anybody in the country. Take the number aside. I mean, we have the passion, we have the drive. I mean, like I always say, I have us over anybody. Natty champs. It'll happen one day. You heard it here.
Well, I told you. What happened, kids, when we were playing We Are the Champions at the tailgate, and your friend Casey's like, "I you can't be playing that."
I'm like, playing that right now.
You got to speak it into existence,
right? And everybody makes fun of me for speaking it into existence. It's gonna happen.
Okay. Obviously, we will circle back to football with our mailbag. But any final football thoughts before we move on to other Wolfpack athletic news?
I mean, we should be top 20, not top 25 at this point in football. It's just it's a little disrespectful. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I think we will be in the CFP poll, but we shall see.
And again, that's the only one that matters, right? We talked about it last week.
Yeah.
Like, you have the coaches poll, you have the AP poll. The only one that really matters is the CFP these days, and people get a little worked up over these other two.
Okay, yeah. Russell says changing gears.
He's ready. He's ready to talk.
Pack. Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
You
this is what I want to talk about.
Yeah, there we go.
All
Give
right.
it a 5.
Women's basketball is number 5 now after beating then number 3 Colorado, now number 7, 78-60 on Saturday.
Dominated them.
Yeah. Honestly, I think, Michael, was it you that said that the 5 is even a little bit disrespectful here?
Yeah.
Give us one.
I mean, like, nobody else in the country has top 5 wins. I mean, UConn was number 2 when we beat them. Colorado was number 3, and
it's not like it's been throughout the whole season either. It's been like the first within the first 20 games. It's that's pretty impressive.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And Iowa
within the first 10 within the first 10 to be really realistic. We're 7-0 now. Yeah, but
that's very true.
It's go ahead, Michael. I'm sorry, you started talking. I talked over you. My apologies.
No, I was just gonna say it. Iowa still has a loss, and they're ranked number 4.
Yeah,
I think it's because somehow they've already played Kansas State twice or something, and they.
Interesting.
I was trying to figure it out because I was looking at their schedule.
Yeah,
and I think they had scheduled them and then ended up in a tournament with them, so it wasn't. So they avenged their loss from earlier in the season already. So that's the only reason I can figure that they would be still. They lost 65-58 on November 16th, and then they beat them yesterday 77-70.
That's wild.
So,
like, why would you even do that? Like,
I don't know, but
Kansas State's pretty good, right? Like,
I think so. I think they're like 15 or 16, but
they're usually pretty good.
Like, they're still ranking them ahead of an undefeated team with 2 top 5 wins is crazy.
Yeah. Well, and I was talking like not to diminish the women's basketball win over Colorado. I personally think Colorado's a good team. They got a little overinflated because of the LSU win. And then they kept winning, and then you had some people losing earlier in the season. But to go out and beat them like that on a neutral court is just, a dominating performance, especially down there in the Virgin Islands where you have to create your own energy. Obviously, it was a little bit more of a glorified high school gymnasium they were playing in. It definitely wasn't a crowd at Reynolds. And so for them to go out and just put it like, just, I mean, what I was most impressed with in the Colorado game was River Baldwin. Like, that was her best game, arguably, as a Wolfpack player.
100%.
And like, she's such a really good defensive player, and just have her see her come up with that offensive output. It's just like, if you're clicking on that cylinder, watch out, bro. Like, for real.
Yeah.
James is still doing her thing. Sanaya's doing her thing.
Sanaya is different.
Yeah, the freshmen are stepping up in key moments. It was a really good tournament too, to get our freshmen in, get them in, and get some action too, and kind of a more relaxed environment. But this team is unbelievable to watch, and to think that they were picked 8th in the league, like, so disrespectful, so disrespectful. And they're the highest rated ACC team right now.
Yeah.
100%.
Crazy. River Baldwin played 32 minutes, had 24 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 assists. We had 4 players put up double-digit points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players play over 20 minutes. But yeah, we got to see some of the freshmen come in, see some kind of different people out there on the court. And now NC State is preparing to play Vanderbilt on Wednesday, and then Illinois State, who are both unranked. So hopefully State is able to dominate some more, kind of continue to grow as a team, let some freshmen get their feet wet, figure things out. What do you hope to see from this team as they kind of continue to grow and progress into this season?
If we keep playing like we are, I wouldn't put past definitely an ACC championship, and I think a very deep NCAA tournament run. Personally,
yeah. I look, you just want to see a team that continues to progress. I think, as they get more time together, you'll start to. Here's the thing: you're starting to see the rotation kind of get built out, and roles are getting more clearly defined, and it's exciting to watch. One thing I want to add is when they play Sunday. This is the 50th anniversary of NC State women's basketball. So they're going to have their alumni day. So if you looking for something to do on Sunday, a lot of former women's basketball players will be there. In fact, the coach was it Illinois State? Is that who we're playing on Sunday?
Yeah.
Vanderbilt. Or no, I'm sorry, that's Wednesday.
Yeah, Illinois State on
Illinois State on Sunday. My bad.
Yeah, so their head coach was a part of our Final Four team back, I think it was in '98. So it'll be a nice day for women's basketball. So if you're a women's hoop fan, get out there. In fact, we will be shameless plug. We will be having actually, no, wait, I will be at the game. Never mind. There will be no ticket giveaway for that game. I forgot I will be in Raleigh. No,
never mind, guys.
No, wait, no, actually, I lied. There is a ticket giveaway. It's the following Sunday that I will be in town. So we will be giving away
check our
tickets
social media. We will be giving away tickets for Sunday's game. But Wednesday, Droop says we're playing a 7-0 Vanderbilt, but that record is inflated. Carson says Vanderbilt hasn't played anyone. Yeah, Vanderbilt is still undefeated, but are unranked.
Yeah,
not worried.
Who they
not
played. And, there's no one that jumps out in women's basketball from those names.
No.
So, but again, it's the ACC SEC challenge for the first time. It's the women's version. Obviously, the men will be taking on Ole Miss, I believe, tomorrow night.
Yeah, tomorrow at 9.
Yeah, so this is a new thing after 25 years of the Big Ten ACC challenge. We now go to the SEC ACC challenge.
Ole Miss doesn't have really many big wins either. They've beat Detroit, Mercy, and Temple by 1. So
yeah. I think we have Detroit Mercy on the schedule later.
Yeah,
if my memory serves me. So
all right.
Yeah, it'll be fun. That'll be a good quad 2 victory. Hopefully we can get, because we kind of lost out on a quad 1 on Friday night against BYU or Thug U.
Some bowl.
We'll talk about that, when we get over to mailbag, because I have some thoughts there as well. We talked about cross country a lot last week with the women's cross country winning their 3rd consecutive national championship. And now Caitlin Tui is the NCAA Southeast Region Women's Athlete of the Year. Obviously, we've talked about this. She's the GOAT. She's one of the best NC State athletes, if not the best NC State athlete of all time. Just wanted to highlight this here, especially because we talked last week about how she actually ran sick in the national championship with a 102-degree fever and still came 5th, which is insane. That
I'm out
only
for a
4
week at
people-
102 degrees.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I would be on the floor. Admit me to the hospital with a fever of 102 degrees, and she's out here coming 5th in nationals. So congratulations to Caitlin. She's the GOAT.
I would definitely, have my thumb in my mouth, a blinky, and calling my mom, say I need chicken soup.
Chicken soup.
For her to do what she did is just unbelievable. Yeah, she is the GOAT. She is the GOAT. Like,
simple. That's all I had to say. Just wanted to highlight her. So congrats.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then checking in with wrestling here. This is the Intermat November 21st individual rankings, which is the most recent. We see here for NC State in different weight classes, we have a number 3, 4, 7, 6, 8, 23, 25, and 13. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 top 10 players.
And every weight category is you have somebody in the top 25. That's
absolutely
crazy.
Insane.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Off week last week. We'll start getting back into it here real soon. We got we got some duels coming up, and then once we get to after the Christmas break, that's when it really starts to heat up, and it'll get exciting
season.
Yeah. We got Cornell coming up soon. That'll be a good one. But right now it's a lot of just little tournaments and stuff like that.
Yeah, but we've talked about there's a really fun team to go watch play. And every weight class has someone in the top 25. So
well,
absolutely.
And the thing is too is like we were in order to kind of qualify for certain things, you had to have so many matches. And so when we were kind of wrestling some of these smaller schools on our schedule the last couple of weeks is when we were up in New York wrestling Army and then Sacred Heart, and then I think it was Binghamton, or I think it was Binghamton that we wrestled.
Yeah.
You saw a lot of our non ranked wrestlers just trying to get some matches in, and they were dominant. And so to the points that you did kind of see like, oh, how did they score 6 points or 9 points? Well, those were not our normal rotation guys, and we were still very dominant. So lots to be proud of there.
Yeah. Wrestling's heading to the Cliff Keen Invitational in Vegas this weekend.
Yep.
And then going to Nashville right before the Christmas break. And like you said, after Christmas, we'll see it kind of heat up with ACC wrestling. But this is a team that has just been absolutely dominant and a team that y'all need to keep your eyes on, especially now that football is coming to an end. So with that being said, let's jump over to our Tuffy's mailbag. All right. Okay. So this is what we were talking about. Men's basketball. We didn't forget about you. Someone asked in the Discord, have you ever seen a ref show quite like the game on Friday night?
I never
recap for us what happened Friday night. Ken's, you seem passionate.
I never thought I would say that I would rather have Teddy Valentine and Jim Bucky officiating a game in my entire life. I want to apologize to every negative thing I've said about those two men because that was just embarrassing. It really was.
Yeah. I actually don't think Teddy Valentine is that bad of an official. He makes it about him, but like, the calls he makes are usually pretty consistent.
I agree.
It makes me
but
so mad.
He's not Carl Hess.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Carl Hess is still mad because DJ almost took his head off.
Yeah.
That's all he's mad
I mean, to answer the question though, unfortunately, yes, we kind of have seen some bad games, but that's
I was thinking about replacing the word ref and putting another word there, and you probably can use your imagination on what word it was.
Starts with an S.
Yes.
I mean, but talking about the actual game, like, State played well in the first half.
Agreed.
They played well in the second half too. BYU was just not missing a shot.
You're not going to beat a team that's 80% from three.
They were just on fire.
Yeah,
I mean, the only thing you could have tried to do was defend the 3-point line again because what was coming. But You know,
Yeah.
when the shots are falling, they're just falling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, Casey Marcel came out second half, balled out. I mean, and then having a lot of players ejected is
thrown
probably
out.
also a kind
Yeah,
of
DJ had to play the whole second half.
in your
Yeah, he played
momentum.
35, 36 minutes, and that's not an effective DJ Burns. I don't care if he's lost 30, 35 pounds.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
it's going to be a struggle, you know. And he's not as quick, right? And it's but Middlebrooks is, you know, people can say what they want to say. By the way, I think Middlebrooks is so glad to get out of Las Vegas, and he didn't end up jail because of all those phantom foul. Wait, hold on. No, they just caught another foul on him. I just got worried. It was bad.
Yeah, somebody put on Twitter and it said, "Welcome to NC State."
Yeah,
Ben Middlebrooks, you've officially entered it.
Yeah, that's your indoctrination.
So, in the first half of that game, what? So I was watching it, but I didn't have the volume on. What happened on the flagrant on Casey? How did they explain that?
Yeah, it was a hook and hold.
Called the foul on the BYU guy and then reviewed it and called a flagrant on Casey. How did that happen?
Yeah, they called him for a hook and hold.
They never really gave an explanation other than you saw Casey's face, and as soon as they put the split screen and showed Casey's face, I was like, something. That's not a face of, hey, I'm about to get free throws. That's a face of whoever just said that is stupid. So once they said it, they didn't really give. Of course, they didn't show a replay or give an explanation, but that was 4 minutes in, and I saw that. I was like, we're screwed.
Yeah, that's crazy.
BYU there's a common denominator if there's fights 2 nights in a row with one team. And the fact
that's interesting. BYU got in fistfights 2 nights in a row, or physical altercations, whatever.
And they didn't get ejected night 2. Interesting to me.
Right. And then state players and coach get ejected. And I understand the rule. You can't leave the bench, whatever. But who's the common denominator here?
My man got ejected on his birthday eve. That's not okay.
Like,
the fact that Kevin Keats Jr. got kicked out is like what
killed me.
When I saw him walking up, even the commentators were like, Ben Middlebrooks and somebody in sweats is going to the room for state.
Yeah.
Like I KJ Keats is like awesome. That dude ain't fighting nobody.
Right.
KJ
was just there for moral support. Like, he was.
He was just standing up for his boys.
That's what I expected. He wasn't the last person sitting on the bench. Like,
exactly.
It wasn't even an aggressive move. Like, here's the thing. I think you have to have some discretion and when you call these things.
Right. And the other thing was it was immediate timeout. So the team was coming onto the court already. Yeah. So it was like
it was the perfect timing and the perfect storm.
But I mean, even my tweet after that, I love DJ Burns even more because if you just watch his face during that entire altercation, he's just like in his head, he's like, we would destroy everyone. Yeah. He was not worried. He had this biggest smile on his face. And I was like, that's the king. He is not worried about nothing.
And the thing was like their coach, he was just like, I wanted to punch that dude in the face because he was like, yeah. I was like, what are you doing? Like, you're egging this thuggery on. It was insane.
Thuggery is crazy.
Thuggery. And they all look like little frat boys on BYU.
KJ has heart and stands up for his boys, protect him at all costs.
Period. It was my man's birthday eve.
Ken says you're not going to beat a team who is shooting 80% from 3. This is BYU scored 96 points. It was 95, but 45 of them were threes. Like, that is absolutely insane. So I do not think State played bad. I think BYU just could not miss a shot, and there was some interesting altercations and ref work that kind of interfered with this game.
I will say that Kevin, I'm proud of Kevin for getting ejected. Like, that was
might as well.
Yeah, I saw the first.
The end of it.
That was the most passion I've seen out of him, and like we've always wanted it every season. If a BS call is called, and he
drugs it all.
Speaks about it in the post game, but it's like he actually stood up for those boys, and it's like, hey, like that's what we want. We're fine with that. Every fan out here is talking about the team already. It's like, shut up. Like, you're not going to beat a team like that. No one is. Simple as that.
And by the metrics, I mean, BYU is right now, they're a top 10 offensive and defensive team. They'll probably be ranked when their next poll comes out.
When does that come out? Like on Tuesdays?
Yeah.
Or Mondays? I thought it come out today, right?
It was today too, but I haven't seen
they're not ranked. They're not ranked as of right now.
Oh. But yeah, I don't know. It was just a weird game, game where the other team was not missing. State's gonna be better against the 3. I mean, just by math, like teams aren't going to shoot 70% against you the whole time. But
and it was like a home game for BYU too.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
They had.
Well, I mean, they're Mormons. They got nothing better to do in Utah.
Okay, they're ranked 19 now. Yeah.
And now State is preparing to play Ole Miss tomorrow in the ACC SEC challenge, like we were talking about. We're having a watch party for that, so everybody make sure to check out our Discord and plan to tune in. But what exactly are y'all hoping to see from the team as they try to move past this loss and find success in this ACC SEC challenge?
Yeah, I mean, this will be our first really true road game of the season, right? So that's number one, is how do you go and perform? I don't probably expect it to be a hostile crowd. Ole Miss is not a great program, so I don't know how crazy it's going to be. But you obviously want to see them rebound from a loss, and see how they come together. And again, the most important thing is we're not going to have a lot of quality out of conference games, and this is one where we're going to need to get some quad 1, quad 2, whatever it's going to end up being at the end of the season. We have to pad that resume early in the season because we just don't know how the ACC is going to look come play time.
Right.
Yeah. I think it's kind of like quietly a big week, like Craig said. I mean, this is a road game against an SEC team, so it'll probably end up Q2 at least, hopefully Q1 if Ole Miss improves throughout the season. And then we've got at Boston College on Saturday. So that's an ACC game on the road. And that's right, like we said, coming off this loss where you traveled all the way across the country. So it's going to be a tough week and a big week. I think State probably is going to be favored in both these games this week.
Mississippi's -1.5.
Oh, okay. All right, there.
Yeah, we touched on this a little bit earlier. Ole Miss is undefeated, but they haven't really played anybody. They beat both Temple and Detroit Mercy by just 1 point. So we should expect this to be kind of a close game, but I think Ole Miss is favored on the fact that they are undefeated. Yeah. And I don't think that should be something that necessarily scares State off.
Only because I'm a college sports fan, I recognize these abbreviations for these universities. That's how bad their schedule has been. Like, can anyone tell me what ALST is?
Alcorn State.
Right, because you're a sports fan, right? But most people, here's one, SHSU.
Is that Sacred Heart?
I think it's Sacred Heart, right? Nope.
I only knew that.
We're wrong.
No?
Sam Houston State. So anyway, it just goes to the point where they haven't played anybody.
These are like fake school.
Yeah, State's definitely had the tougher game so far with Vandy and BYU last week. So hopefully they that's helpful going in.
This is all
just kind of put it into perspective. That's all.
But can we highlight Colby's comment real quick? I really need.
What?
I just needed that to be shown to everybody because I'm ecstatic. I'm so happy. I'm so tired of losing. Okay, we can get
the Panthers are unwatchable, so hopefully this helps.
Gosh. No, it's David Tepper's the problem, but you can't fire that man, so.
All right.
Well,
and
only thing you can hope for is a scandal. That's what you're hoping for at this point if you're a Carolina
right,
fan.
exactly.
And to wrap it up here, as the regular season for football comes to an end and we looked ahead to bowl games in the offseason, who should NC State pick up in the transfer portal, or more generally, what specific needs does the team need to address?
Yeah, I mean, this is still the first day. Go ahead, Michael. I'll let you jump in. I've been talking a lot.
Oh, I was just going to say that's a loaded question.
How much money do we got?
Who should we? Yeah,
exactly.
The answer.
We're giving all of our money to KC. No more money goes to anybody else. That's
seriously.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
I mean, obvious answer is you need a QB, probably two.
Yeah, for sure.
O-line needs
O-line. Someone talked
but
earlier in the chat that the O-line has improved from what we saw halfway through the season, and I definitely agree. Halfway through the season, we said you know, when we were doing those midseason reviews, we said this is a mess. This is like a D-, D, F O-line. We really need to get together there. But I think we really do need to focus on that as we go into the transfer portal and kind of focus on that going into next season.
Real quick about the offensive line. I think that got shored up really good when you got Peak in there and you brought Isaiah Shirley onto the line as a blocking tight end. I think you got a lot more efficient. And then you got healthy. Obviously, McMahon was out for a couple of games, and you had a kind of a carousel of moving pieces. You were trying to figure out who could play where. You obviously, Derek Eason kind of lost his spot on the line. So there were some things there that, during that bye week. Again, we talked about earlier, that bye week came at the most crucial. Actually, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, the MVP of the season may be the bye week. We got it all figured it out. Yeah, but
really? No. Yeah. I mean, if I had to pick three, I mean, quarterback.
Yeah.
And
I think
running back. Yeah. We've lost three guys now.
I mean, you lost some people at tight end. Granted, again, we just talked about Shirley.
Yeah.
Is that going to be? Yeah. Is Isaiah Shirley? Is this going to be a long-term thing? Was just a plug and play it for now? Is he going to be the tight end moving forward? That'll be something interesting to watch, which will determine where you go. So if you gave me three positions on the offensive side, that's probably where I would go. And then on defense, you're probably going to need a cornerback. My guess is because at least one, maybe two.
Maybe two.
Yeah. Maybe some D-line help. Again, this is still the first day of the portal, right? And so we don't know what we're going to lose. We haven't heard any right now. We're only hearing depth pieces that are moving. We haven't really lost a starter. And so that will definitely dictate, what directions we go. But I think quarterback is going to be number one and probably wide receiver. You want to go get Concepcion some help because he's just not going to be able to hold that volume again.
Yeah, and I think Paylor coming in will help him with that too.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of pressure.
Yeah, and if we get Anderson, we hope that still plays out in State's favor. That definitely helps. But
Dakari Collins, like we mentioned him earlier, like he looks to be like it could be a solid contributor next year. I think wide receiver and O-line I'm feeling better about than I was at the beginning of the season.
Yeah. But again, I mean, if does Rooks come back? We already talked about Anthony Smith leaving. Is a person like Julian Gray got to leave because, he hasn't got a lot of reps he's been a returner, but he hasn't got a lot of time at actual wide receiver. There could be another 2 to 3 people in that wide receiver room that leaves, right? And we don't really have, we have Paylor, we maybe have Anderson, but those are true freshmen, and it's worked out.
Rely on them,
right? I mean, it worked out for KC, but that's you want proven commodities, especially at skill positions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's still very, very early, so there's a lot to be discussed and kind of be determined in the coming weeks, but for the time being, NC State v. Carolina, regular season is over. We're chasing that bowl game win for the 10-win season. Any final thoughts?
Tyler Van Dyke's in the portal. You want him?
Yeah. No.
Heck no. Somebody take him away. I would never. Ain't no way. Sorry. Dave, stay away from him.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of joked and we talk about it enough and shameless plug for Savage Wolves, Pack of Wolves and ILs. It's like, I think the last number I saw is they were over $100,000 since the Saturday game. It might even be more than that. That's just kind of an estimate. And obviously Dave, we talked about, his comment. He wants, 500 people at $1,000. That's $5 million. Look, it's a new era, and if you enjoy seeing State win 9 games, 10 games a year,
and Christmas,
you got to pony up a couple dollars. And we're not saying mortgage the house and or put it all on red, in Vegas if you were out there last weekend. But if you got a few dollars, man, it goes a long way. The minimum is $5, and so they'll take your $5. And I contribute what I can, and I know it's not a thing for everyone, but definitely consider it. And if nothing else, just spread the word. I mean, that helps.
Yeah.
If you can't donate financially, just drop a tweet, share something on Facebook. like DJ Burns, get your grandma, get your uncle, get
Your neighbor,
the Walmart,
your neighbor's babysitter.
get the Walmart greeter, whoever. Let them know we need their money. So.
All right, so yeah, there's the takeaway. NC State beat UNC as 9 wins. If you like to see it, go support your team. And if you like hearing us talk about NC State athletics, make sure that you hit the like button on this, subscribe to this channel, and join us every Monday for our live streams. But we beat Carolina. Go Pack!